need to get on a little bit of a run here. I mean, if we can throw any kind of 4, 5, 6-game streak together, or 6 out of 7, 7 out of 8, 5 out of 7, anything to just get some momentum.
Greg Paquette's remark at the beginning of the recent road trip hit the mark. The Cardinals took 2 of 3 games from the Expos, and then went to New York and swept the Mets 3-0 for their first sweep in Gotham since 1993. 8 of the next 11 games for the Redbirds are against the Cincinnati Reds, who are 20 games below 500. It is a perfect opportunity to continue their run toward the National League Central crown, because after these 11 games, they go to the Windy City to face the first-place Cubs. The first of these 11 begins tonight as Bud Smith takes the hill against the Reds, next on Fox Sports Net. Ken Griffey Jr. and the Cincinnati Reds are in St. Louis, and make no mistake, this is a dangerous Cincinnati team. And tonight, the rookie left-hander Bud Smith is on the mound trying to slow them down. We welcome you inside Busch Stadium for Game 1 of a 4-game series, the Cincinnati Reds and the St. Louis Cardinals. And now I would like to personally welcome you to the broadcast booth, along with my partner Al. Consider this an invitation from us to you to join us here tonight. I think you can really get into a lot of trouble looking at Cincinnati thinking that this is a team you should roll over. You start writing down the names in that lineup, that's a good lineup.
You're right. They're healthy now. They have a good lineup. And this is a team that, for whatever reason, 3 games over 500 on the road, the worst home record in the National League. But right now, you got to be very careful of them because they're dangerous, and we do have a very tired bullpen. So there's a lot of responsibility on Bud Smith's shoulders.
Yeah, he gets the first start of this set tonight, and we look at the road ahead for the Cardinals and what's coming up tomorrow through Thursday against Cincinnati. And we will have the next couple of games for you on Fox Midwest. Then Friday through Sunday against Philadelphia. Then it's more at Cincinnati, and then next weekend at the Chicago Cubs. So the question is, what do the Cardinals have to look forward to? We put that question to Tony La Russa before the game.
Well, we don't want to look behind either, and that is be patting ourselves on the back. We had a nice road trip. I mean, it's all about what you do next. And Cincinnati has gotten healthier. You know, they were victimized as much as anybody by injuries all over. You know, their players, their pitchers. Now, that lineup they put on the field against us is going to be as good as anybody's. They've been playing better. So it'll be a real test for us. It'll start out with getting them out. And then in the games we played, you know, they pitched well against us, even though they were hurting. So it should be a real competitive series.
I don't think there's any doubt, Al, that this is a team that the Cardinals are going to have to really concentrate on to beat.
Most definitely. A lot of their injured players are healthy now, and they have their best pitcher on the mound, Descens, who really has given the Cardinals a lot of fits.
It is a left-handed heavy lineup, though, for Cincinnati. A lot of their power hits from the left side. So who do the Cardinals have going tonight? He'd be my pick, Bud Smith.
Well, his time in the order to come up is Bud Smith. You know, he's been very good. Of the home runs he's allowed at the major league level, they've all come to right-handed batters. But he's going to have to spot the ball on both sides of the plate. He's going to have to change speeds, and he's going to have to contain the big left-handed bats.
So the division standings have changed quite a bit over the past week. The wild card standings have changed quite a bit over the past week. And coming up in our second segment, Al and I are going to sing "The Heat Is On," which will be nice because the race is on. Come on, the heat is on. Yeah,
that's all I know. Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah,
I can feel it burn. All right, we'll talk more about this game when we come back after this quick break. Tony La Russa and the Cardinals are back home, and they're only 5 games out in the division. I can feel it burning.
I think the main thing is you got to go out there and throw strikes, and that's, with me, I think that's important, throwing strikes and not getting, you know, free passes to the hitters. And using my defense is the main thing I try to do, is go out there and know I'm not going to strike out a lot of guys. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to make the hitters hit my pitch, whether it's, you know, change up just off the plate or curveball down and in or something like that. I'm not going to give in to a hitter. And I think I've learned that just from watching, you know, the Nagels or the Glavins and, you know, the guys like that. And I grew up watching Langston, you know, and Anaheim, and just watching left-handed pitchers and the way they work. I try to, you know, be like that, not trying to give in to, trying to throw something to where, still they have to hit my pitch, and that's just the way I've always tried to went about it. Yeah, I mean, this series is important. They got some good players over there, some young talent over there, and it's just we got to go out there and take one game at a time and just try to string off a few more. I mean, we won 3 in a row there in New York, and the team's on the same page right now, and the team's up and going. So I mean, we're looking good.
Well, you can see that not only is he a talented pitcher, but he's got his thoughts together. He's got a good idea. The left-hander Bud Smith takes on Cincinnati when we come back right after this. Here's one mission, low fares. Bud Smith and the Cardinals ready to go at 7:09, and the first pitch is up and in to Todd Walker, second baseman who started the season pounding on the Cardinals as a Colorado Rocky. He's now with Cincinnati, hitting .298. The 1-0 from Bud Smith. Nice big hop for Edgar. Leadoff man is gone, and a good start for Bud Smith. Just what he said in his own scouting report. Use his defense. Today's Southwest Airlines starting lineup. You know that Walker's leading off. Then it is Adam Dunn. He's their stud coming up in the minor leagues. Griffey Jr., Casey, Boone, Young, Jason LaRue, Pokey Reese, and Elmer DeScent. That's a good lineup. And there's the left-hander, Bud Smith, who's 3-1.
As Bud knows Dunn, Adam Dunn from AAA Wars, actually hit a home run off him in the AAA All-Star game.
There's a strike from Bud Smith, who is exactly half the size of Adam Dunn.
They weigh about a third as much, but he's making another big start for the rookie. He's got to follow the veterans lead in his last 4 starts, or his only 4 starts at Busch Stadium. Very good, 2-1.
Count 0-2 on Dunn. So you have a matchup here, as Al said. 2 guys who faced off against one another in the minor leagues. They're doing it here in the big leagues, and the count's 1-2 in their first encounter.
One of the first things that impresses the Reds coaching staff about Adam Dunn is his knowledge of the strike zone. For a big guy and a big home run threat, he does not swing at many pitches out of the strike zone.
The 1-2. That is crushed down the right field line, but hooking foul. Hello. Hello. Let's go around the horn. There's nobody sitting up there. Today's Around the Horn brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Mark McGuire is at first base. Second baseman Fernando Vina. Over at third, it's Placido Polanco. His hitting streak came to an end yesterday. And the shortstop is Edgar Renteria. In the outfield, Albert Pujols in left. Jim Edmonds in center. And as Dunn rips another one foul, Craig Paquette is over in right. You can see why they like this guy.
Absolutely. Well, they said with his power, when he hits one deep, you'll know it's been launched. Paquette's going, am I deep enough? Morero's going, let's keep the changeups working. Now a fastball off the plate, away.
And Eli can't hang on.
And a mislocation, but no harm, no foul.
It was a foul, so there was no harm.
Oh, that's exactly, literally that was correct. I don't never let the facts get in the way of a good line.
In the way of a cliche, no. Here's a 1-2 to Dunn. Adam is up there yanking everything to the right side. So you've got, as a fan tumbles onto the field.
See 6 starts for Bud Smith. He's 3-1, ERA under 3. No complete games, but that is something. They're going to go deeper into this game, maybe. 39 plus innings, 33 hits, 11 walks, 23 strikeouts.
Chrysler Jeep starter for the Cardinals. Goodbye, Adam Dunn, as he went inside. And Dunn, who knows the strike zone, according to the Reds, I'm sure will tell you, I know the strike zone. That was not a strike. He thought it was inside. 2 out. That'll bring in Ken Griffey Jr.
Interesting that the first 4 Reds are all left-handed hitters against the left-handed throwing Bud Smith. Griffey's starting to get up there with those numbers. Healthy again. Joe, you see 451 home runs. He was the quickest to get to 450, the youngest. A lot of people are saying now that he's very unhappy playing in Cincinnati. He'd like to leave. Isn't that a shame?
There's a strike to Ken Griffey Jr.
Not everybody can go home and be happy, right?
Before the break, 227 average. Since the break, a 312 average with 9 of his 13 home runs. So he is a big threat. Obviously, when he hit that 450th home run, it was the same night that Barry Bonds became the fastest to 49. And then Bonds went deep for number 50 at Wrigley. Bonds did not homer in yesterday's game, the tight victory for the Giants over the Cubs. And speaking of the Cubs, they are up 2-0 in the first inning in Houston and still batting as the Chicago Cubs and Houston Astros battle at Enron Field. That's Senior on your right, Junior on your left, and the 1-2. Still 1-2. I think as impressive as Bud Smith is with his pitching stuff, I think you have to be impressed with his idea and the way he approaches a start, knowing that he's not a guy that's going to blow hitters away.
Remember, he's only 21. He won't be 22 until after the season. And yet, you just get the feeling that he does not have a fragile psyche.
Which, to be honest, was a concern after what happened with Rick Ankiel coming up at a young age and having the meltdown, having to go back and rebuild it all. I think it made the Cardinals a little more hesitant to rush Bud Smith to the big leagues before they knew that he was totally ready. And I think even when they called him up, they weren't sure. He made that one start against the White Sox and was shipped right back out. The 3-2, a 2-out walk, and that'll keep the inning going for Sean Casey.
Very similar to the pitch that was called a strike to Dunn is a walk to Griffey.
So there's the score from Houston. I'm not sure who to root for there. I think I'm rooting for the Cubs.
I think you're right. We're going to pick up a game on one of them if we win ours.
And it's just as important to try to make your way up that wild card list as it is in the division.
And Joe, I think a lot of us believe that Houston is the more dangerous club.
It's the advanced auto division standings, the wild card standings, and something that over the course of this week and a lot of games on television for Cardinal fans, we will be showing quite a bit.
Sammy Sosa got the Cubs on the scoreboard with a 2-run home run in the first.
0-1 the count on Sean Casey, who is hitting .334, one of the best hitters in the league. Takes a ball, it's 1-1.
Joe, he is the best in the National League hitting on the road. 381 average, 101 points more than that home average, which they are terrible at home.
Casey, who has that rare approach when he digs into the box of stretching out his back leg. Most times you see guys with their front leg, the one closest to the pitcher, the one that they're lifting up, stretching out, and even when they hit, lifting up and setting down. But it's Casey working the back leg as he prepares to hit. 2 balls and a strike. Griffey at first, 2 out. And a little flare into left field. That's a base hit. Falls in front of Pujols, and a walk and a single presents trouble for Bud Smith and the Cardinals. And now a right-handed batter, Aaron Boone, will walk in with a chance to put Cincinnati on top.
A little flare out there, and of course kind of lifts this ball out into left field. It doesn't go that far, and Albert Pujols, who has a little tender hamstring, with the soggy grass in New York, it's kind of amazing that more players didn't come out with some leg injuries in that series.
Against right-handers, Bud Smith has held them to a .237 average, but all of the home runs allowed have been from right-handed batters. And here is one, Aaron Boone, who takes a strike. Here's Boone hitting .300 with 14 home runs. There's not an easy out in this lineup.
Not at all. They're very dangerous, and they really have a very relaxed team.
Change up, 0-2.
They play for personal pride. They play for their individual contracts. Whatever you want to talk about it. They're 20 games out 20 games under 500, they're not going to be they're going to be a spoiler role more than a contender.
See if Bud Smith can end a long first inning. 1-2. Pitch count is not usually a big deal, but it is with a young pitcher like Bud Smith, and it is on a night like this when the Cardinal bullpen has been ravaged over the weekend in New York. Especially the back end of that bullpen. Strike 3 and the inning is over. Bud Smith allowed a walk and a hit with 2 out, but gets around it with his second strikeout of the first inning. So 1 scoreless inning for Bud Smith tucked under his belt. Now the Cards come up. Well, what will the first game of a 4-game set bring for the Cardinals, who are coming off a sweep at Shea? Today's Southwest Airlines starting lineup looks like this. Vina, Polanco, McGuire. In the middle, it's Pujols, Edmonds, Paquette. Edgar Renteria is the shortstop. Eli does the catching tonight, and Bud Smith, a very talented hitting pitcher, is batting ninth. Take a look at Elmer Descends, and this guy's got a pretty good arm.
Joe, he has been their most consistent pitcher. You know, he came into this season with only 24 career starts, and this year he's making his 25th start here tonight. He is typical Mexican pitcher. He changes speeds. He can actually throw harder than he usually does, but he'll stay in that comfort zone and really kind of get you off balance and make you get yourself out.
Cardinals first saw him when he was with Pittsburgh, and he will work to the Cards here tonight. We'll see how the Cardinals respond getting home. Nice sized crowd here on a Monday night, and how the Cardinals react as they have officially, at least in my mind, climbed back into the race as Vina takes a ball down and in. That was a happy group we flew home with last night.
Yes, it was, and rightfully so. Their first winning road trip, a 5-1 trip since mid-May.
Vina with a count of 1-0. Is he taking? So far, 2-0 for Fernando, hitting .305. Vina had a good series in New York, and if you want to win a Gold Glove, and if you want to get recognition that this guy deserves, do it in New York in front of that press corps. Here's a 2-0. Vina's taking, and it's a strike, 2-1.
How about the leap for the final out of yesterday's game? That was Gold Glove caliber.
Wow, it really was. I mean, that thing had hit written all over it.
We all commented that we thought Dave Veers jumped on a springboard and shot Vina up about 3 or 4 more inches.
I think Veers might have ended up getting up higher in the air than Vina after that ball was caught. Here's a 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. It was an important out because it kept the tying run from coming to the plate. Matt Lawton, who had been swinging the bat well, and Veers racked up his 13th save, and he was involved with a win and 2 saves in the 3-game sweep at Shea.
That was very big, Joe. Get his confidence back.
3-1. Easy for Pokey. 1 away. That's the way the Cardinals' first inning begins, and we will again give you Around the Horn. It's brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. First baseman is Sean Casey. At second base, it's Todd Walker. Across the infield, Aaron Boone is the third baseman. The shortstop is Pokey Reese. They're without Barry Larkin for the rest of the season. Our old friend Dimitri Young is in left. Ken Griffey Jr. is in center. And in right, it's Adam Dunn. Jason LaRue is the catcher. And on the mound, it's Elmer Descends, who's 8-8. Polanco will try to start a new hitting streak. Takes a strike. Placido had a 20-gamer end yesterday with an 0-for-5 afternoon against the Mets.
Our first 2 batters in the lineup have been very good this season. They have both been consistently at that 300 mark.
Here's an 0-1 to the right side and through the right side. That's his stroke, and Polanco's on in front of McGuire. Boy, he's good going the other way.
Oh, he really is, Joe. And I told him yesterday after the game, I said, hey, start a new one, and that's all you can do. Take that attitude, new day, new streak. Ball out away from him, goes that way. If you throw it inside, he can inside out the ball. And those hits add up.
It's tonight. Is tonight the night that Mark McGwire gets a hit other than a home run for the first time since the 18th of July?
It's kind of a streak in some ways you don't want to stop.
No, as long as he keeps hitting.
Yeah, I mean, like right now in this bet, you want him to hit a home run. You don't want a single.
The last one was a drive in Houston, just a bullet on July 18th. That was the first game of that two-game set and the start of what was a long and crazy night on a Wednesday evening in Houston. That's outside, 1-1. The flash bulbs are starting to pop again around here when McGwire's at the plate.
How about that?
The Astros come roaring back against Beret. Reynolds on the mound for Houston. Lance Berkman, one of the best hitters in the league, drove home 2 of the 3 runs. A 1-1 to McGwire. DeSenz is being careful. 2 balls and a strike with Albert Pujols on deck.
Biggio led off the game with a home run. So Houston and the Cubbies are going to do a lot of battle. And you're talking about at in-run field, they're going to be battered when they get out of that 3-game set. That's a 3-game, isn't it?
That is.
This one.
Their off day is on Thursday. The Cardinals have a 4-gamer with Cincinnati. Here's a 2-1 to McGwire. A very good swing there. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and a little awkward there at the end for McGwire.
Yes, it did. He kind of used to have that kind of swing and used to worry about the back a little bit. Might have been fooled a little bit, anticipating something out away from him. And isn't it nice to see that Mark's been driving the ball to right field?
Last 2 home runs have been to right. 3 of his 21 home runs are to right field this season, including his first against Colorado. Here's a 2-2. Tried to hold up, could not. 2 out. The batter will be Pujols.
Supposed to be, I think, a fastball away and misses the target, but locks him up. And not a very good swing. Mitchell Page was telling me before the game he thought Mark was going to be a big factor in this game, and a lot of it having to do with driving the ball to the opposite field.
4-2 now. Houston leads in the first at Chicago, and if the Cardinals can win here.
So what was it? Tapani lost yesterday and hadn't won in his last 11 starts for the Cubs.
And they had to put Kerry Wood on the disabled list officially with tendonitis in his pitching shoulder. The Cardinals can win here and Houston wins down there. Houston will be in first place and the Cardinals will be trailing the Astros by 4.5 games. But that is way down the road at the end of this night. Cardinals trying to win their 5th in a row. 1 on, 2 out, 1 ball, no strikes on Pujols, who's hit 28. That's to the left side and a base hit. A ridiculous throw, but Casey chases it down and it's 2 on, 2 out. Talk about a bad decision, but Casey was there. I think Sean made a fair catch as he pulled that in, and it's 2 on with 2 out for Edmonds.
Yeah, when you're that far, I don't care if Pujols is a little bit below average running speed. Put it in your pocket. And it's a good thing for Pokey Reese that Casey didn't try to stretch 500 feet to try and haul that ball back to the bag.
Well, now the Cardinals have what the Reds had in the top of the inning, 2 on with 2 out. And Jim Edmonds is at the plate. Their guy, Aaron Boone, struck out looking. Now it's up to Edmonds to try to turn this first inning into a productive start against Cincinnati. The numbers for Edmonds, 274 average with 60 RBI.
Earlier in the season, Edmonds hit a home run off of DeSenz.
Pretty good rip there. Strike 1. Edmonds did a little bit of everything in the series at Shea Stadium. For the most part, had a very solid series, and his average has been climbing over the past couple of weeks. Hit a ridiculous home run against Apier on Friday night. 2 on, 2 out, the 0-1. Ridiculous in that I don't know anybody else who could have put the bat on the ball, let alone hit it off the front of the bottom part of the upper deck.
Well, I told you that he's been telling me because of that shoulder, there's times he will guess fastball, and because he gets to a certain point and have trouble swinging the bat through, he was almost cheated by falling away from the pitch and thinking fastball and caught it. But that ball was up, and he tomahawked it on a line drive off the facade, right?
Yep. Edmonds rolls one over here, and Walker underhands to end the inning. So each side strands 2 in the first. Cardinals get 2 hits, leave their 2, and Elmer descends this through the first inning. Bud Smith back to the hill, no score. Our Hyundai dealers' key matchup. It's hard to believe that the Cincinnati Reds can play that poorly at home. The kind of talent that they have in their lineup, but the numbers are just so drastically different. One problem is the ERA, and if you had to pinpoint one reason why the Reds are at the bottom of the division, near the bottom, it's their pitching.
Yeah, 4.80 ERA. And Tony felt like in this game, because of the bullpen being a little overworked,
That's foul.
they were going to have to outslug the Reds tonight.
Well, we're off to a start where each side had 2 on in the first inning, but couldn't do anything with it. Now an 0-2 count on Dimitri Young leading off. 1-2. It will be Young, then LaRue, the catcher, then Reese. If anybody gets on, descends, who hasn't done much hitting. Bud Smith has turned into, at least turned out to be, a pretty good hitting pitcher. That's a base hit. Dimitri Young fought it off, got it through the right side, and the leadoff man is on for Cincinnati. Fernando Vina leading the way. It's definitely go time for the Cardinals. Fernando's on the cover of the brand new issue of Cardinals Game Day magazine, and you can take advantage of a special subscription offer by calling operators tonight. Sign up for the magazine and you'll receive the 2001 Cardinal Yearbook for $6 off the price. Give them a call, 314-982-7336. Vina on the cover. 1 on, nobody out. Here's LaRue. Ball 1. Jason hitting .246 with 11 home runs, 38 RBI. Cincinnati Reds, evidently, I guess, looking at those numbers to start the inning with a home compared to the road work that they've done. They've already mentally moved into their new ballpark, which is not set to open until 2003. Pretty good pitch. It's called ball 2.
Mentally, huh?
Mentally. They are not really at Synergy Field, despite what the schedule may say.
Half and half, right?
2 balls, no strikes. LaRue for the first, and Dimitri Young, who doesn't do a lot of running, is back to the bat.
You got half a old ballpark and not quite half a new one.
Going up just past the left field wall in Cincinnati. Here's a 2-0. Pretty good rip. 2-1.
Bud Smith just very calm and collected, just doesn't get rattled with anything around him. Saw in spring training one of the signs where a lot of shoddy defense behind him, and it never phased him, even in spring. Trying to make a club.
Here's a 2-1 pitch. Inside corner, 2-2. Good delivery from the Cardinal left-hander.
You know, Joe, I also asked Dave Duncan, and I termed it or phrased it this way. I said, aren't you pleasantly surprised with Bud's breaking ball? And he said, absolutely, because every time he talked to anybody in the minor leagues, they always said, well, his breaking ball's not good enough. It has been good enough.
Change up and a roller to second. Can Vina turn it? They get one, and now they've got Dimitri hung up in a rundown. McGuire to Renteria, back to Vina, and a double play. 2 out, nobody on, and Vina is, I'm just going to say it now, he is the best. With a guy coming between first and second, a ball hit at him, at making the decision now what to do with the ball, who to get first. He's the best.
Well, he learned a very valuable lesson by Albert Bell.
Yeah.
He took his chin off one time. But you run the man back, and, you know, you're at the major league level, even though they took an extra throw to get the guy done. But they went and got the batter first, and then he had Dimitri in a rundown between first and second.
4-3-6-4 on the play. It was Vina at the end of it that laid the tag on Young, and now Pokey Reese takes a ball outside. This guy's usually good for at least 1, if not 2, crippling home runs against the Cardinals every series. He only hit 7 on the year, but he is amazing against the Cardinals. That's out of play, and the count 1-2.
Pokey originally came up as a shortstop. Now getting a chance to play that position now that Barry Larkin is injured and out for the year. Some people are surprised he's still here, though.
Now, there's no doubt that Pokey Reese was at least talked about with those trade conversations leading up to the trading deadline. Colorado talking to Cincinnati about it.
You could almost see him ending up out in L.A., can't you?
That was another possibility. They're looking for a shortstop. Bud Smith, good play. And after getting a leadoff hit, the Reds send only 3 to the plate. Double play turned in by our little Gold Glover. And after an inning and a half, no score. To salute Tony Gwynn's marvelous career and the announcement that this will be his last season, the Cardinals have added a few events as a tribute to the future Hall of Famer. On Tuesday, August 28th, the Padres come to town. There'll be a pregame ceremony in which the Cardinals will present Tony with a special gift. Then on Wednesday, August 29th, the fans receive a special gift when the first 30,000 fans with a paid admission receive a pin featuring Gwynn's number 19 jersey. Those are added to the schedule, added dates that aren't printed on your schedule you may have gotten at the beginning of the year. So get your tickets now. It's August 28th and August 29th, the Tuesday and Wednesday against San Diego. Here's Craig Paquette leading off, and Paquette, Al Raboski, has been a big part of the Cardinals' resurgence.
He has. He's been having a chance to get a lot more playing time, and he's been delivering. He had 7 RBIs in the road trip. Up to 42 now, and he's very good with men in scoring position.
1 ball, 1 strike. You look at his production. 42 RBIs. That's 1 fewer than McGuire. Polanco's had a ton of at-bats, and granted, Paquette's hit more of an RBI position in the lineup, but he has 14 more RBIs than Polanco. That's foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. More than Renteria. I mean, he has been a big part of this team.
10 home runs, 2 of which have come as a pinch hitter, including a big one in the 9th inning, a 3-run game winner in Cincinnati, his first ever pinch hit home run.
Well, that was something, wasn't it?
2 strikes, 2 outs, and just took a victory right away from Cincinnati.
Danny Graves. Here's a 1-2. Paquette is gone, and that's strikeout number 2 for Elmer DeScends. We'll give you this Schnook State in Cardinal history as Paquette walks away and Renteria walks in. Lou Brock collects hit number 3,000 as the Cardinals beat the Cubs 3-2 for a crowd of over 46,000 at Busch Stadium. And he did it off Lamp, right?
Yeah, Dennis Lamp knocked him down the pitch before. Lou got up and hit one right back through the middle and off the body of Dennis Lamp for his career hit number 3,000.
Well, I credit you, Al Raboski, with alerting the world, at least the world that gets Fox Midwest, for the changes that Renteria made with his approach at the plate and that leg kick and the work that he'd done with Mitchell Page. And it was going to turn around, and it has turned around.
Yes, it has. And, you know, Joe, I think a lot of it had to do with, you know, his name was being rumored as being part of the trade, and so game was kind of suffering in many different ways.
Right back up the middle, a 1-out base hit, adds to his .251 average.
And that's what he's doing. Instead of pulling the ball, he's taking it up the middle or the opposite field, driving the ball, not lifting that leg, and keeping his balance and his weight back. See, it's just all simple. You know, just different people have to do different things. Before, he would take that foot completely up, and you know, you can't really center yourself until you bring that foot back down.
Big numbers over the past 2 weeks, 413 average. I really credit Walt Jocketty, who didn't get frustrated enough to just trade him away to get him out of here. And you're talking about a guy who's in his mid-20s that, with that little change, is back on track. And I really think that he's going to have a big stretch drive for the Cardinals, and he's going to be a vital part of this team.
Well, if you talk to anybody that has followed Renteria's career, they'll tell you that He is a money player, big game type player. We all know about getting the game-winning hit in seventh game of the '97 World Series. But the bigger the game, the more Renteria responds.
1 on, 1 out for Eli Marrero. He takes the ball, and Eli, 284 average, has had a solid season.
It is so apparent to us. He has not hit well against Cincinnati, but I think he's a much different player, Joe. And you just have to say, and I talked to his high school teammate Mike Lowell, who also a cancer survivor, and it just took these guys a while to get their strength back.
That's low, and it's 2-0. Gullet.
Tim Foley to his right.
Two of the coaches on Bob Boone's staff. Bob Boone's son, Aaron, is playing third base for Cincinnati, and Eli Marrero would like to drive one right past him into the corner. 2 balls, no strikes. 1 on, 1 out. Right down the middle, 2-1. That game in Houston has finally settled down. 4-2 Astros, bottom of the second. Last 10 days for Eli Marrero. Had some playing time last 10 days. He's had 19 at bats, and he's hitting .368.
He's hit .295 in his 34 starts this year.
He's a strong guy. When he connects, the ball just jumps off his bat. 2-1. Does the runner go? Edgar got a little early start, so DeSenz saw it and stepped off. See if the Cardinals start the runner here. Not going as Marrero fouls away strike 2.
Well, Joe, congratulations to the St. Gabriel's 5th grade boys baseball team, who won the City County Championship in the Midget Open Division by beating Presentation 7-3 and closing out a season undefeated. So nice going, the guys at St. Gabriel's 5th grade baseball team.
Isn't that a politically incorrect division that they're playing in?
Well, it's open.
1 on, 1 out, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now Renteria is running on ball 3. Edgar's got a stolen base, and he's at second with only 1 out. A 3-2 count on Marrero. Number 13 for Edgar Renteria.
Well, and that's another part of his game that is picked up. Stealing bases. Seems like he got. Seemed like he was 4-5 about 3 weeks ago. Throw was offline, but a good jump by Renteria. Moving well down the line, gets up his 13th steal in 16 attempts.
Well, let's see if Marrero can drive him home. Runner at second, 1 out, no score in the second. And ball 4 to put 2 on for Bud Smith. The old 3-2 breaking ball, and Eli Marrero did not bite. The Midwest Sports Report is coming up right after this game. Al and I will be a part of it. We button our top buttons and pull up our ties. We'll also hear from John Hadley, Fox Focus on Gold Gloves and a defense without Wistrom. Grant Wistrom injuring his knee in last night's victory for the Rams in Buffalo.
Well, we wish Grant speedy recovery. Hopefully as quickly as Mike Timlin is making progress.
What's the word on him?
Mike threw on the side today. He had a bullpen session today. And Tony said he threw the ball extremely well. And they say he will be back before the 1st of September.
Smith drops down a bunt. It is perfect. Runners move up to second and third, and Vina will have that in front of him as Bud Smith drops down a beauty to advance the runner.
Little things, Joe. He's 21, but he knows how to play the game. Perfect form. Just didn't jab at it, didn't do it, let the ball come to the bat, and then deadens it right there. Casey makes the play, and we have guys at second and third.
For Vina, who grounded out to short his first time up. First in the career of Bud Smith. compare him to Glavine. That's something that Tom Glavine is very good at doing. In fact, at the plate, he and Glavine are similar in that they both swing the bat well, and Glavine get the bunt down, as Bud Smith just did. Let's see if Pena can take advantage of it. Second and third, 2 out. And the bunt back to descend. It looks good when it works, but when it doesn't, it looks ugly. And the put out 1-3. The runners are left. The Cards have left 4, and after 2 in St. Louis, no score. No score as we go to the third inning. A lot of hits, a lot of base runners, but no damage done yet on either side. Cardinal fans, on Tuesday, August 14th, Cardinals play the Reds. That's tomorrow night. AMC Theater's Player Action Photo Night. And all fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive an action photo of Albert Pujols. He'll be the Rookie of the Year. He stopped right now. He'd be the Rookie of the Year. At the bottom of the action photo comes with a coupon good for 1 free small popcorn, courtesy of AMC Theaters. He'll be a part of the action tomorrow night. That's our Budweiser What's on Tap. Reds and Cardinals tomorrow, 6:30 with Cardinals Tonight on Fox Sports Net. Here's Elmer Descends, the pitcher, and that's strike 1 on Elmer, who is 2 out of 39. Did you know that we have a fan of our broadcasts and of our work on Fox Sports Net with Josie? And Josie is the sister of Yogi Berra.
Oh, really?
Who lives on the Hill and watches all of the Cardinal games. So Josie, hello from Al and Joe. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Descent.
We had her famous brother on our
We
broadcast.
did. That's right. When he was in town signing his book. When you see a fork in the road, take it.
I loved it when he said.
Descends. Base hit. Pena didn't know whether to go for the little flare or to try to pick it up on a hop. And once that thing hit, it just jumped with all the spin on it.
Yeah, kind of spun away from him. You know, remember when he was in Montreal, he was playing about 10 feet deeper out on the artificial surface. And he just thought that that ball was going to spin back towards him, and it kind of got by him and goes into right field for a base hit.
So it hadn't been a fun 2 minutes for Fernando Pena.
No, but I'll tell you one thing, the way he has played defensively, that ball gets by him. I'll trust his judgment.
Strike 1 on Todd Walker. By the way, on that bunt, which ended the threat in the second inning, I'm sure there will be calls if the Cardinals don't win this game on call-in shows about it. And you cannot like the play, but you didn't like it then we will not allow you to like it when it won a game earlier in the year in the 8th inning in a game that Matt Morris pitched his heart out. I think it was here against Houston.
Yeah, it was here, and Joe, I thought you phrased it perfectly. It's a great and brilliant play when it works, and you kind of question when it doesn't.
Good play by McGuire. Good decision. He went to the bag. He knew who was running, and the Cardinals turned their second double play of the night. Boy, he's played a good first base. That play he made yesterday in New York and the ball hit by Peyton probably saved the game.
Yeah, absolutely. The bases were loaded on that ball, and it was hit much harder than this one. You know, Mark knew he's one step from the bag. You've got the pitcher running, so just step on the bag, make an accurate throw to your shortstop. Pitcher running, he'll run right into the tag.
So now 2 out, nobody on, and Adam Dunn is at the plate.
Joe, I don't know if you saw the play that McGuire made in Montreal.
I did.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that was as
about
quick as we saw him move in a long time.
I talked about it with him yesterday. He said that ball was hit so hard he did not have time to turn his glove and get ready to field it. He said it actually left a skid mark on the side of his glove, and that's how he knew that it was somewhere near him, because it clanked off his glove that hard. He knew he knocked it down, and by the time he figured out it was behind him, he scampered after it as Dunn hits another monster shot foul. And he fed Kyle for that final out of the game.
Pena in yesterday's ball game, Veers throws a pitch. It looked like it was going to go into right field, and look at the jump by Pena. The little guy got up that time, and Veers got up helping him.
Last year we had Fernando Pena growth poster day here at the ballpark. I think he grew a couple of inches after stretching out like that. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Adam Dunn. 2 out, nobody on. Dunn took ball 3. Take a pitch, 3-2. Dunn was called out on strikes his first time up on a pitch over the inside part of the plate. Get the feeling this guy pulls the ball a little bit?
Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of his power is generated to right field. It's with that open stance.
Boy, 3-2.
He takes a swing. You know, he struck out the first time on a fastball that was inside. But I think the one thing that they were talking about is he just stays within the boundaries of the strike zone. He doesn't really, you know, swing it wildly at pitches out of the plate.
Still 3-2. Might have to do the old shift on a guy who's had 84 at bats in the big league.
It sure does look like he'd be vulnerable to the changeup, but yet he still gets a piece of it.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Just low for a 2-out walk. That brings up Griffey. Second walk handed out by Bud Smith, and now Griffey, who walked his first time, digs his way in.
See, McGuire doesn't play behind the runner.
Right now they're going to hold against him. I agree with you.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
he wants to run, I think Marrero can get him whether they hold him on or not.
right, and go ahead and put yourself in a better fielding position. And I think a big guy like that, you still can hold him close enough by playing behind him.
Or just play right on the line and get a ground ball off the bat of Griffey to end the inning. That was foul, strike 1.
And of course, if he would have been back and off the line, that ball would have probably got into the corner. So what are we doing?
But you play the percentages, and I agree with you. Get to the bigger part of the field. But the Cardinals hold against Dunn. Adam Dunn has not attempted a steal all year. Good pitch, fastball, caught the outside part, 0-2.
Griffey was commenting around the batting cage that he's been hitting everything to left field. I'm not sure the Cardinals buy it.
I saw him hit a few balls into right. Just kept going. They set up inside, and Griffey takes ball 1.
We saw him set up a few pitchers, too.
Bud Smith trying to get through the 3rd inning and trying to get one of the best hitters in the game to do that. Here's the 1-2. Got him looking. Griffey Jr. is gone. Bud Smith rings up his 3rd of the night. A hit, a double play, a walk, a strikeout. So far, so good for Smith. Good pitch. Cards bat in the 3rd. Placido Polanco will lead off in the bottom of the 3rd. Each side has 3 hits. Cards have stranded 4. The Reds have stranded 3, but hit into 2 double plays. Here's Polanco, who singled his first time up. Ball 1. Polanco, McGuire, and then Pujols for the Cardinals, who are 6 games over the 500 mark. 61 and 55. Here's a 1-0. In Tony La Russa's office yesterday when Rick Hummel came in at Shea Stadium and alerted everybody to the fact that the Cardinals were only 2 games off the pace that they had set last year.
Isn't that amazing? Seems like it's about 15.
The difference is what the rest of the teams in the division are doing. Cincinnati Reds, probably the biggest threat for the Cardinals last year. And if you remember during the All-Star break last year, they traded away Denny Nagel when they were, I think, 8 games out. And that pretty much signified that they were ready to pack it in. And the Cardinals coasted in the second half, even without McGuire. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Tony La Russa also said, and it was a good point, that was about the time that Will Clark showed up around here, and the team really took off and pulled away from the rest of the division.
No, but the amazing thing, though, Joe, and people discount it, pitching is what wins championships, and our pitching is actually better this year than it was last year. ERA is considerably lower.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Polanco, who calls time. Yeah, you look at it at a playoff rotation of Kyle, Morris, Hermanson, heck, even Bud Smith if you needed a left-hander.
Sure.
That's so much better than what the Cardinals had last year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now 3-2, and Placido laid off a tough pitch. Bullpen's better with Klein out there. Yeah, go ahead.
Goodwill wishes to Edwin Beaker, Washington, Missouri. He's at St. John's Mercy Hospital. He's recovering, so we want to wish him a speedy recovery.
Here's a 3-2 pitch to the third baseman, Boone. They throw but out, 1 away. Polanco 1 out of 2, and we'll talk about NASCAR all season long. Fox Sports Net is your place to turn for all the latest news, highlights, and information on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Tomorrow, it's Totally NASCAR, your exclusive all-access garage pass with 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights, plus the latest developments on what's gearing up for this week's race. Totally NASCAR tomorrow at 6, only on Fox Sports Net. Fox Networks, your home for NASCAR all season long. Here's McGuire, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. He pops this one up. Can't even see it in the sky, and Dunn might have a tough time getting there. Finally does, and that's the second out. Boy, it is tough to see a fly ball with this sky.
Very good point, Joe. These infielders really have to help out the outfielders at dusk, and really the lights of the stadium haven't taken effect. It's still very difficult to see those balls that are in the air, especially one that is hit so high. You were speaking about Rick Hummel. I was told that they had to call an emergency writer from the Post-Dispatch because his plane was sent back from New York, or back to New York, so Rick was either going to show up late or had not been here early enough to cover the game today.
1 ball, no strikes on Pujols. Albert singled his first time up. His average is just taken off again, 332. 140 hits in his rookie season, 28 of which have left the park. He is on pace for the National League rookie record for home runs hit. Cincinnati Reds have that record. Frank Robinson did it.
Wally Berger?
Yes, he's the other. I believe is 38. Pujols with 2 out, nobody on. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Matt Morris going for the Cardinals against the left-hander Dennis Reyes tomorrow night.
That stat was a little interesting, Joe, that he's hit more than 100 points fewer with runners on base and leads the club in RBIs.
That's popped up foul, and LaRue gives it a look, out of play, still 2-2. Cardinal fans, every Friday during the season, it's Busch Bash night at the ballpark. Come to the Southwest Airlines Family Pavilion every Friday throughout the season for a pregame party featuring live bands, former players, the opportunity to win tickets for the chance in the Busch Bleacher Zone, where each fan in the zone has a chance to win up to $5,000, all courtesy of Busch Beer. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, nobody on, and Pujols gets time.
Happy 81st birthday to Al Wolves from St. James, Missouri, from grandson Pat Kelly.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Albert spoiled it. Did you do the Friday night game in New York?
Yes.
That hit that Pujols got
So one to the right
in
side.
the 10th inning on an 0-2 count to set up first and third for Edmonds and then Paquette, that won the game.
How about it? You're absolutely right. And then Gary Robinson, was he flying?
Here's a 2-2. A high strike. Pujols is gone, and that ends the inning. For DeScends, his 3rd strikeout. And we go to the 4th inning. Cardinals and Reds first to 4, and there is no score. Well, it's the 4th inning, and it's Sean Casey, then Aaron Boone, then Dimitri Young against Bud Smith. who, along with trying to win this game, is also trying to give the bullpen some much-needed rest.
Joe, it's a big order for him because he doesn't have any complete games. And Tony felt like he was maybe have to leave him out there to give up 5 or 6 runs.
That's down into the corner. Paquette will try to cut it off, but Casey's got at least a double. Good play by Craig to get it back in, but a good start to the inning, as that's the first extra base hit of the night for either side. See if the Reds can chase home Sean Casey. Today's Aflac trivia question is, what is the most runs the Cardinals have scored in one game ever?
Wow.
Most runs the Cardinals have ever scored in one game.
Take a guess.
26.
That was what I was going to guess.
Here's Aaron Boone.
I'll say 29.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. 0-1 the count on Boone, who struck out with 2 on and 2 out back in the first. One and one. A 1-1 pitch. Strike 2, and we'll see if Bud Smith can put the hitter away, pick up his 4th strikeout, and leave Casey out at second base.
We will tell our audience that neither one of us are correct.
We have surrounded it.
We have surrounded it. And the truck is amazed at one simple clue how we both figured it out.
Here's a 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I don't know if they should be amazed at that.
No, the guys in the truck are.
I know. Casey at second with nobody out. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Aaron Boone. Bud Smith, a jam shot to short. Good base running by Casey. Good play by Renteria for the out. But Aaron Boone does his job thanks in large part to the work of Sean Casey.
See, the rule of thumb is if the ball is hit in front of you, you can't advance. Well, this ball was hit in front of him, but it was hit so slowly that Casey knew that by the time it was fielded, he would be well on his way to third base, and Renteria's only play would be at first. So that is why we say very good base running.
Now it's Dimitri Young with the RBI chance. Young has a hit in this game. 52 RBIs in the season, a .304 average, and another guy who was talked about in trade rumors. Infield in. Thank you very much. 2 out.
Well, that's big.
We have seen, Al, Bud Smith do this a lot. Get into situations where he needs a ground ball. And he has had some pretty good major league hitters roll balls over to the infielders with runners at third.
And look at that. You get him reaching for an outside pitch. He tries to pull it, and it's an off-speed pitch. And whatever you're going to do, if you're left-handed, you're a right-handed batter, you're going to pull it to the left side. And Casey doesn't have that speed, not going on contact. He couldn't come home.
Runner at third, 2 out. And strike 1 on Jason LaRue. Bud Smith proving that you do not have to throw 95 miles an hour to be successful at this level. And to his credit, he's not out there trying to throw 95 miles an hour. He's doing what he does, and he is getting big outs. 0-1 the count on LaRue.
He really has a feel for pitching. And he has a good idea what he needs to do.
Good play by Marrero, ball 1.
And you saw right before the pitch was delivered, Marrero even accentuated, keep the ball down. Don't worry about it. There's a runner at third base, but I'll block it. And that is so reassuring to a pitcher. See where his glove is? And you see the perfect technique. The glove really between the legs, making sure nothing goes through the trap door, but you utilize your chest protector to stop the ball.
That's 2-1 on LaRue. Looking at a guy in Bud Smith who last year was a combined 17-2 with an ERA of 2.26 in the minor leagues and threw 2 no-hitters. Here's the 2-1. 2-2, good pitch according to Terry Kraft and not Jason LaRue. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and LaRue is hot about that one.
Well, let's see on pitch tracks where it is.
It's
Just
inside.
off the plate, but on the block, and Terry Kraft gives that to the pitcher.
Our friends at Oral Health, America's National Spit Tobacco Education Program, would like to remind you, as LaRue flies out to center, that smokeless, Al, does not mean harmless.
And also a scoreless game.
Al, smokeless does not mean harmless. So, no score. Our Aflac trivia question: what is the most runs Cardinals have scored in one game? Shouldn't be what are the most runs? I don't know. 28 against Philadelphia in 1929, July 6th, which was 2 seasons before the Mad Hungarian took over here in St. Louis.
Yep. They have some leftover fireworks that day. Shot them all. 28 runs.
28. During the end of the dead ball era. I think that was the signature game. The next season, Hack Wilson drove in 191 runs in one season. And that ends my trip down memory lane. Here's Jim Edmonds leading off, 4th inning, no score, and ball 1 from Elmer descends. What a good job by Bud Smith. Put on a clinic as to how to pitch around a leadoff double in the top of this 4th. So no score. Edmonds 0 for 1. He left a couple of runners on. His first time up. That's a strike, and it's 1-1. Edmonds a .273 average. Descends doing his usual work against the Cardinals. That is a bullet down into the corner and off the wall. That's a double. Chased down by Dunn, and boy, the top half of each inning has been mirrored by the bottom half, and like the Reds got in the top of the 4th, the Cardinals get a leadoff double.
Very similar to the one they hit, the Friday home run, but this one didn't elevate it, but hit just as hard. And a little top spin, and one hops the wall. Maybe the Cardinals can break through here in the 4th inning, Joe. And we talk about it with Paquette. It almost seems like he's not going to get much if there's nobody on base, but if a guy's in scoring position, look out.
Another chance for Craig. Runner at second, nobody out. And ball 1 as they appeal down to the first base umpire, Matt Hollowell.
Craig's hitting .351 with runners in scoring position.
Season average .267. Leadoff double by Edmonds. 1 ball, no strikes. And now 1-1 as Paquette fouls it away. And a good play by a fan in the upper deck. One of our bigger Monday night crowds here at Busch Stadium in a while, and obviously people are starting to get excited about Cardinal baseball again.
Yeah, you start winning a few games, and these fans will respond. The Cardinals have sold over 3 million tickets once again. There's still room for more.
Here comes a 1-1. A bunt. Make it 1-2. I raise my hand to say I don't like that play. And I'm sure it was called by the bench. It is the 4th inning. Let Paquette try to drive him in. Cardinals have a sign that isn't to bunt, but the sign is to get him over.
Right.
And it's up to the hitter to do it however he sees fit. Paquette may have had the option left up to him, and his selection was the bunt. I want to see Paquette swing the bat. Runner at second, nobody out, and the 1-2. That won't do anything as Griffey goes back, comes in. 1 out. Paquette did not advance the runner.
Back to last Friday night when Jim Hedmonds hit that home run we talked about, kind of falling away from the pitch. It was up a little bit, and he hit a monster blast into the upper deck. And then here's this double right there on the right side. One that puts him out at second base right now with 1 out for Renteria.
Lindsay and the gang in the truck and the tape room do a great job.
They are awesome. Even though they're working with half an air conditioning.
Runner at second, 1 out. Here's Renteria. Can he salvage something out of that leadoff double? It's Renteria and/or Marrero who will try to put the Cardinals on top.
Poor Doug Stanton there. Walk in there and say, "Oh, you guys got a new truck today." He goes, "Yeah, and the air conditioning's not very good." And I said, "Well, Joe and I will really feel sorry for you."
It's funny, our air conditioning hasn't worked up here since 1966. 1 ball, no strikes. Runner at second, 1 out. 1-1 on Renteria. Edgar singled, stole a base his first time up. That was with 1 out. Then Marrero walked. Bud Smith bunted the runners up to second and third, and Fernando Vina trying to push a bunt past the pitcher. Running it back to Descends, and the inning was over. Leadoff double by Edmonds. Paquette couldn't get him over. Renteria tries to get him in. 2-1.
Aaron Boone, the second baseman, trying to jockey around with Edmonds to keep him close to the second base bag so he wouldn't score on a single to the outfield.
Count in Edgar's favor. Breaking ball that was sitting there, and the count 2-2.
Well, it did look like it just sat there for him and had to pull the trigger. A little tardy with it and got underneath it.
It may be time for Renteria to move around in the order. Edgar is that hot of late. Last couple of weeks hitting over 400. He's 1 for 1 in this game. See if he can produce a run here with a runner at second, 1 away. They can be careful with Renteria. If they are careful with him along the lines of a walk, it'll be 2 on, 1 out for Eli Marrero.
Sands can get his share of ground balls though.
Here's a 3-2. That'll put 2 on with 1 out and leave it up to Marrero at the moment. If you would like to win Cardinals tickets and participate in the Southwest Airlines Family of the Game promotion during a Cardinal home game, here's your chance. Send your name, address, and phone number to Southwest Airlines Family of the Game, P.O. Box 771192, St. Louis, Missouri 63177. 2 on for Eli Marrero, who is in the lineup. As much for his bat as he is for catching Bud Smith. Manny Castillas hit a home run. Boy, what a pickup he was for Houston, and the Astros lead 5-2 over the Cubs. So the Cardinals could be 4.5 out of first place at the end of the night with a win here tonight if Houston wins in the division, and 4 out the wild card. 2 on, 1 out, and a double play ball. 6, 4, 3. Each side wastes a leadoff double. We go to the 5th. No score. Nothing, nothing. 4 hits on each side, an evenly played game to this point. 5th inning now. A lot of babies here tonight. Don't say what you think. Tonight at 11:30, it's the last word with Jim Rome. Jim tells it like it is on the Nightline of sports talk shows. The last word with Jim Rome tonight at 11:30 right here on Fox Sports Net. It'll be the 8, 9, and 1 hitters for Cincinnati. That means Reese, Descends, and Walker against Bud Smith. Right down the middle, right at the belt, ball one. Two and 0. Reese, his first time up, hit a comebacker. Bud Smith made a good play. 2-1 as Reese tried to hammer at a 2-0 fastball. 2 balls and a strike. On 2-1, Reese fouls another. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Cardinals in the bottom of this inning will have Bud Smith, then Pena, then Polanco. Pokey Reese had the count in his favor, 2-0. Now it's 2-2. A very light schedule in the major leagues tonight. That'll get out of play. Pittsburgh at Arizona later, and the Diamondbacks are in first place in the NL West. And as we showed you, Houston at home leads Chicago 5-2 after 4 as they try to slap the Cubs around, who have gone through a rough week. One away, and for Bud Smith, strikeout number 4. Not only a bad week, Al Raboski, with the losses that have piled up, but they lose a big weapon in Kerry Wood. They don't know what his future will be with the tendonitis in his pitching shoulder.
Yeah, it's supposed to be up around the rotator cuff area, and so I know Don Baylor's tried to put a positive spin on it, but he is going to miss more than just a couple starts.
That's to the right side. I don't know if anybody's going to get there. McGuire did not make the play, I guess. Ball dropped on the, everybody thought he was out. He made the catch. I did as well, but the ball was trapped under the body of McGuire, and that's strike 1.
Yeah, I thought he did too, but it's a good sign to see Big Mac slide and tuck that right leg back underneath. Good effort. Came up a little short. How about Tampa Bay has done to Minnesota?
5-1 victory for Tampa Bay. They've been playing giant killers here lately.
Yeah, I mean, they've been, going after being a real spoiler, haven't they?
Here's a 1-1. Descends, takes ball 2, 2-1. Two balls and a strike, now 2-2. Minnesota Twins have just absolutely fallen apart. They won only 4 of their last 11. They're a game and a half out behind Cleveland, who's not playing good either. That's to the left side, and a base hit. Bad throw, and what a good play by McGuire to save an error. So what looked like a harmless little pop-up and an out, McGuire couldn't get there, turns into the second hit of the night for Elmer Descends, and it's 1 on, 1 out for Todd Walker.
Well, we thought Pokey Reese made an ill-advised throw, and you say the same thing about Renteria. At least he had the pitcher running, and McGuire does a nice job at the other end to vacate the bag and catch this one before it goes into the dugout and give an extra base.
1 on, 1 out for Todd Walker, who is 0 for 2. He bounced into a double play his last time up. Same situation. Descends at first. That time there was nobody out. This time there's 1 out. That's ball 1 on Walker. Hitless on the night, hitting .296, 14 home runs for a guy who's not that big. 1-1. A lot of that damage done out in Colorado. Bud Smith trying to pitch around a 1-out hit by Descent. No score in the 5th and a 1-1 delivery. 2-1. Cardinals, as you look down their remaining schedule, couple of series left with Houston and one big one coming up in 2 weekends, as that's down into the corner, and that might put Cincinnati on top. Paquette will dig it out. Descend's not running well. He'll only make it to third, and it's second and third, one out on a double by Walker. And this has got the makings of a frustrating inning with a ball that could have been caught for an out. Leads to a hit, now a double, and it's second and third, one out with Adam Dunn coming up.
See a ball kind of up over the middle of the plate, and he hooks it down into the right field corner, and descends as you. He's chugging hard. He's just not going anyplace, running in his own shadow.
Is there some reason why pitchers who do more running than anybody can't run? Does that make any sense? Second and third, one out for Dunn, and there's a strike. The infield is in on the left side and back on the right side for this left-handed power hitter.
In the 70s, Joe, Kenny Reitz and a shortstop named Ed Crosby were sent out to a famous UCLA track coach after he tried to help these guys with their foot speed. I think he retired.
0-2 on Adam Dunn, and let's see if Bud Smith can come up with his 5th strikeout, or a pop-up, or a ground ball at somebody. Reds trying to take the lead here in the 5th inning. Somebody's got to break through here sometime. 0-2. Good pitch, a little far away from Dunn, and I think Bud Smith put that ball right where he wanted.
Yes, he absolutely put it right where he wanted it, and that's what we're talking about. Dunn has a pretty good idea of the strike zone.
Second and third, one out for Adam Dunn, who was struck out and walked. Got him on the inside corner. Bud Smith rings up his 5th.
Well, Joe, that's exactly where he threw the pitch the first frame to strike him out. So big guys like the ball out over the plate, and he painted the corner inside, or by pitch tracks, about 6 inches off the plate.
Credit Eli Marrero with helping set up a hitter. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the St. Louis Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Cardinal Baseball is a production of Bud Sports. It's an exclusive presentation of Fox Sports Net. Well, here's Griffey, one of the biggest at-bats of the night. Ball one.
Ooh. Marrero had set up outside, and that ball was inside. Pick your poison. Ken Griffey Jr. or Sean Casey. First base is open, but I don't think you really want to load him up for Casey either.
Casey, the better hitter average-wise. He's also 2 for 2. Griffey drives one into center field. 1 run will score. Edmonds come up throwing, and Walker is safe. Throw hits the mound, back to the backstop. It's 2-0, and down to second is Griffey, as the Reds have taken the lead on a Griffey hit up the middle.
And Bud Smith never did back up home plate. So it's a single, 2 RBIs. And look at where Marrero set up. He starts reaching back over the middle of the plate. He hits it up over the middle of the plate. Edmonds is charged with an error, allowing Griffey to go to second base. His throw comes in and hits the mound, and then kicks over the head of Marrero, and the pitcher should have been backing up, and he wasn't.
So it's 2-0 Cincinnati. Runner at second, 2 out for Sean Casey. And a clunker to second should end the inning. Vina makes the play. That'll do it, and the Reds, through all that, get 2. Well, the hit by Descend set it up. Set up Griffey, and Griffey delivered for the Reds, who lead 2-0. Temperature is down compared to the last time we were in this ballpark. Ken Griffey Jr. delivers what these two teams have been looking for pretty much since the start of the night. A 2-out RBI hit. He knocked home 2, and it's 2-0 Cincinnati, bottom of the 5th. A hit by Elmer Descends was a big part of that. Let's see if Bud Smith can return the favor. A ball that's called a strike to make it 0-1. It's Bud Smith, then Vina, then Polanco if anybody gets on McGuire. The Bagwell double makes it 7-2 Houston over the Cubs. 0-2 on Bud Smith.
Bud, 273 hitter, 3 for 11, and sacrificed his first time up.
Off the plate to the shortstop, Reese. 1 out. So back to the top of the order. Our Casino Queen leaderboard has to do with the top 2 guys in this Cardinal lineup. Vina walks in. Highest batting average. One of the 1-2 hitters in the National League, and the Cardinals are number 2 to the Colorado Rockies. Todd Walker, who's at second base for Cincinnati now, is a big part of that when he was out in Denver.
Sure. Juan Pierre. Todd Walker, you know, he started with Minnesota, wore out his welcome there. I'm not sure that was the case in Colorado, but he's a pretty good player.
With 1 out, Vina takes a ball. Fernando tried to bunt with runners at second and third, 2 out, and bunted it too close to Descends. That was back in the second when the Cardinals had those 2 runners in scoring position. A 3.04 average for Fernando. 2-0.
Tony was a little worried about this Elmer Descends. He pitches pretty well against the Cardinals. Changes speeds and both sides of the plate.
2-1. Descends came in with 2 hits all year and 39 at bats. He's 2 for 2 tonight. And you wonder what this scoreboard would look like without that foul ball that he hit that dropped between McGuire and Marrero. Eventually he got a hit and was driven in by Griffey, who puts that away. 2 out. So Descends, the Cardinals can't figure him out. And we will tell you about the Midwest Sports Report, which is coming up after this game. John Hadley sounds off. Fox Focus, Gold Gloves, and a defense without Wistrom. Hopefully not for too long, as Grant Wistrom injured his knee last night in Buffalo. That's immediately after the game right here on Fox Sports Net. Here's Polanco, 1 out of 2, hitting .325. Pretty well hit the opposite way. Dunn going back to get it. The Cardinals go in order for just the second time tonight. We go to the 6th. Bud Smith back to the hill. Cincinnati has 2 and the Cardinals have nothing. Enter the AutoZone Sweet Deal Sweepstakes. Stop by any St. Louis area AutoZone store and enter to win 4 tickets to the best seat in the house right behind us in the broadcast suite at Busch Stadium. It's your chance to have the Cardinals' experience of a lifetime. Stop by an AutoZone store today and enter. Leading it off is Aaron Boone, and where was that? Ball 1 is the call. 1-0 on Boone, who is 0 for 2. Hitting .301. Same pitch, 1-1.
Aaron Boone broke a bone in his hand earlier in the season. They got Griffey and Boone and Larkin all back the same day, June 15th.
1 ball, 2 strikes on Boone.
Almost like making a big trade.
Larkin down and out for the rest of the season. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Boone is back and trying to get on in front of Dimitri Young. Cardinals in the bottom of this inning will have McGuire, Pujols, and Edmonds. That's well hit, but right at Albert. 1 away. For the most part, Bud Smith has done his job here tonight. Not for the most part. He has done his job so far tonight. 2 runs so far as he pitches in the 6th inning. And he will deal with Dimitri Young.
I think anytime you see Bud Smith just give up a couple runs, you're going to say he's in for a pretty good evening. Spotted his pitches well. He's got some strikeouts, even Griffey. Got done again at a crucial time. Got a double play a couple times. Defense has been good.
But it's 2-0 Reds. 1 ball, no strikes on Dimitri Young. Good pitch, 1-1. Cardinals will have, and I started to go through this earlier, Matt Morris tomorrow night, then Woody Williams on Wednesday, and Dustin Hermanson on Thursday. That's into center for Edmonds, and the first 2 Reds are gone here in the 6th inning. The Reds will counter with Reyes tomorrow night. That's a change from what the Cardinals had originally been told, the left-hander. And it's Rietsma on Wednesday, and Jose Acevedo, 3-3, not the former Cardinal. Jose Acevedo with an ERA over 5 on Thursday. Against that guy we just showed you, Dustin Hermanson.
You know, Reyes is real tough on left-handed batters, and Tony said, I'd like to give Edmonds a day off, but no one to play center. And I think we'll see Miguel Cairo, the newest Cardinal, will get a start tomorrow. He hits left-handers very well.
Put Marrero in center.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's down the right field line, slicing, foul. 2.
Let's get LaRue back into the dugout. Get back on offense and see if we can get a couple, if not a few runs, and take the lead.
0-2 the count on LaRue. Chased one, and he becomes the 6th strikeout victim for Bud Smith. Ken Griffey Jr. has the only RBIs of the night. It's 2-0 Reds after 5.5. It is easier than ever to buy Cardinal tickets this year. Log on to STLCardinals.com, the official source for Cardinal tickets. STLCardinals.com. Connect with it.
So we got some belated birthday wish for a special young lady, Heather Barton from Peace Valley, Missouri. Her birthday was on August 11th, but very nice little note. Happy birthday. Stay out of trouble. Be careful now that you're legal. Nice note from her mother, Merrill.
Here is McGuire. Is this the at-bat that Mark McGuire gets his first hit other than a home run since July 18th? Strike 1. Houston is pounding the Cubs 9-2 in the 5th inning. Darrell Ward hit a 2-run homer in that game. Highest percentage of hits that are home runs. Certainly not a surprise that he's at the top of that list.
Yeah, almost 54% of his hits have been home runs.
And he's over 50% now in hits that are, or at least plate appearances that end in either a strikeout or a home run.
Yeah.
50%.
Bonds has 50 home runs and 108 hits. You know, it's not surprising. McGuire, no shift on him, but it's not surprising that limited singles. These last few years, more home runs than singles.
McGuire is gone, and Mark is frustrated with these swings. As you look at pitch tracks, this at bat where those pitches were, and there wasn't one pitch in the strike zone.
Well, you can see where he is totally confused by Elmer DeSenz swinging at pitches that he can't handle. 4th strikeout.
Pujols to the hole, and that's Pokey Reese. Good arm, 2 out. We showed you that pitch tracks, and again, the National Spit Tobacco Education Program and its chairman, Joe Garagiola, would like to remind you that smokeless does not mean harmless. Tony La Russa was concerned coming into this game about tonight's game, calling it a potential letdown game. You win 5 of 6 on the road trip. You sweep the Mets at Shea Stadium. You have the Reds, who are well below you in the division standings, and you let down. You don't play with the same kind of intensity that you have over the past week to get you in the position where you're thinking about postseason again. And it has happened for the most part here tonight. Only 4 hits, 1 extra base hit, a wasted leadoff double in the 4th inning by this guy Edmonds, and nothing really against Elmer DeSenz.
That pitcher has something to do with it also.
1 ball, 1 strike. Edmonds didn't like the call. 1-1 with 2 out, nobody on.
As I can't imagine the players looking out and seeing their peers in the other uniform would take the Reds lightly.
Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. After Edmonds, it's Paquette. J.D. Drew talking to Brad Henderson there. Drew is getting better.
Yeah, in the last 2 days he has done some baseball activities on the field, so hopefully he will be back in a day or two.
2-2 on Edmonds. You talked about Mike Timlin earlier in the game throwing on the side, and he's throwing on the side and throwing well. He can't be that far away.
Well, Tony used the term that he would be back before September 1st, but you know, as a reliever, you don't really have to have the stamina to go more than 1 inning.
The 2-2. Edmonds loops one into right field, his second hit of the night, and Jim has got to turn it on to get the second. The play by Dunn to get it back in, but that's a double. Maybe the Cardinals can turn that into something with 2 out.
I think Jim Edmonds is going to be so key down the stretch. So even though we're trailing by 2, you get him on base and you get him getting some base hits, get his swing and stroke back. You know, that's going to be huge. You get J.D. Drew, you get Mark more healthy, and you get Edmonds swinging the bat. That is the missing ingredients to go along with the guys that have been pretty consistent all season long.
Well, here is Paquette. Craig has struck out, flied out. He's been a good hitter in this situation this season. 351 coming in, as Al said earlier, with a runner in scoring position. Ball 1. At one point in his at bat, his last time up with Edmonds at second and nobody out, he tried to bunt to get the runner over. With runners on period, he's hitting 342. The 1-0. 2-0 with Renteria next.
Sens does have a complete game shutout this year, but not a guy that you think in terms of completing what he starts. So let's do some damage now. And their bullpen is a little bit weary also.
2 balls, no strikes on Paquette. The tying run at the plate. 3-0 with Renteria going back for a little more sticky stuff on his bat. He is headed to the plate here shortly if the Sens is going to work around Paquette. With a runner at second, 2 out. A 3-0 pitch. And Paquette just tapped weakly to the third baseman. That can't be the pitch that he was looking for on 3-0, and he just did the Sens and the Reds a favor. 2-0 after 6.
Cardinal fans, on Sunday, September 9th, when the Cardinals play the Los Angeles Dodgers, is Pasta House Coca-Cola Pennant Day at the ballpark. All fans 15 and under with a paid admission receive a pennant featuring pitcher Darryl Kyle, courtesy of Pasta House and Coca-Cola. That's Sunday, September 9th, when the Cards do battle with the Dodgers.
Here is Pokey Reese. And there's a foul ball. Strike 1 on Reese, with Descends, the best hitting pitcher ever. And then Todd Walker to follow. Descends kidding about that, but Elmer has had 2 hits, and his last one was a big reason why the Reds lead in this game. 1 ball, 1 strike on Pokey Reese. Reese is tapped back to the pitcher, struck out. Bud Smith is working in the 7th inning, doing exactly what the Cardinals needed him to do, and he falls behind Reese 2-1. Now it's 2-2.
other times Bud has pitched 7 innings in starts.
Leadoff hitter is Pokey Reese. That's into left field, and Albert Pujols will post to it. On away with the pitcher coming up. Tiffany Smith, who's at the game from St. Louis, says, please say hi to my mom, Sylvia Haynes, and my brother Mike, and my friend Shayla Morris, rooting for the Cardinals here tonight. Everybody's going to have to crank up their rooting a little more. As Elmer descends, who's 2 for 2, he came in with 2 hits all season. He has 2 hits here tonight. He has solved Bud Smith, the only other guy to solve Bud Smith. Ken Griffey Jr. with 2 out. He drove home 2 runs back in the 5th inning. The only damage done on either side this evening. 1 out, and there's a strike, 1-1. The last hit followed a missed opportunity on a foul ball hit near the Cardinal dugout. Fell in between McGuire and Marrero. 2-1 on descent. This could be it for Bud Smith, due up 3rd in the bottom of the 7th, depending on what's going on. Here's a 2-1, 2-2.
Pretty good rip right there. And you'd have to think that Tony, if he had a chance to win, would maybe go use Veers or somebody. He's a little concerned about Klein.
Bud Smith says finally. 2 out.
Got Andy Bennis, T.J. Matthews.
And that bullpen is going to get busy. A guy who's had a ton of work is the guy who's going to warm up, and that's Mike Matthews.
Yeah, well, Mike's been working and also warming up. And you know, they've got the front end of the batting order loaded with left-handers, so Matthews will get the call right here, but they're desperately would like to give a couple days off for Klein. You know, he would never want that.
Infielders in on the corners as Todd Walker takes a strike. Yet this is one of the worst teams to have a weary Steve Klein in your bullpen when you're facing Cincinnati with the kind of left-handed thump they have.
Absolutely.
One ball, one strike. There's Steve Klein.
You know, Steve will never ask for a day off, but
to the left side and a base hit. So Todd Walker, whether he's wearing a Colorado uniform or a Cincinnati uniform, is tough on Cardinal pitching, and he's on with 2 out for Adam Dunn.
kind of bounces this ball, and Polanco playing in a step or so, and the ball gets over his head. His second hit.
Here's Dunn with a runner at first, 2 out. Adam 0 for 2 with a walk, 2 strikeouts, and that's a ball.
Joe, both strikeouts were on inside pitches, and I noticed the last one I did not see on pitch tracks in the first one, but the last one was a good 3 or 4 inches inside.
Dunn pops it up. That should end the inning. Polanco goes to it, and that'll do it. 7 strong from Bud Smith. That's the good news. The bad news is it's 2-0 Cincinnati. Bottom of the 7th coming up now for a look at what's coming up on the National Sports Report. Let's go to the Fox Network Center. It's a 2-0 Cincinnati lead, as it was back in the 5th. It's getting late now. Bottom of the 7th, and Edgar Renteria is first up against Elmer DeScend. Edgar has a hit and a walk, and he takes a strike. It's Renteria, then Marrero, and then maybe a pinch hitter for Bud Smith. Bud Smith has been terrific, but the Cardinals haven't done anything against DeScend. On 0-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Houston on its way to a victory at home over Chicago, 9-2. Cardinals down 2-0 here. Pittsburgh at Arizona later. That's it in the National League. That's strike 2 on Renteria. In the American League, Tampa Bay finishes off a winning series at home over Minnesota 5-1.
Well, it seemed like the Sens kind of tempts you away, and then about the time you start to stride across the plate is when he busts you inside.
He has Renteria set up at 1-2. And Edgar stays alive. Elmer against Edgar. With Eli on deck.
Colombia versus Mexico.
This guy is a tough one on the Cardinals, always has been. Has a win against the Cardinals this season as Renteria hits it hard, but right at Dunn. Ooh. Knuckling out to him, and Adam Dunn put it away, 1 out. That'll bring in Eli Marrero.
Edgar, good approach, hit the ball well, slicing out here, and it's going to start sinking, and it wasn't pretty the way he caught it, but he was effective.
Fox box operator in St. Louis, Alex Tevlin. Fantastic work tonight, Alex. Fox box is not operating. Ball 1. We're sharing our Fox box capabilities with Fox Sports Ohio because we at Fox are family.
Got an attitude.
What?
Got the
We
Fox
do.
attitude.
We have a Fox attitude. 1 ball, no strikes on Eli Marrero. That's going to be a tough play for Reese. What a good play. Wow. Short hop, a little flip across the infield. That was something. 2 out.
Thought for sure that was going to be a base hit until he caught it and flipped that ball over so quickly.
Good play, 2 away. Now here's a spot where if you want to save your bullpen,
yeah,
you send Bud Smith to the plate. But it's Bobby Bonilla batting for Bud Smith, who's finished after 7 strong innings. Ball 1 to Bonilla. However, 119 pitch night for Bud Smith, and that's the end of his evening.
I still think that more times than not, if he gives you 7 innings and two runs allowed, he's going to win his fair share of games.
Can't do much more than that. It was Ken Griffey Jr., future Hall of Famer, who got him with 2 out in the 5th inning with a 2-run single, and that is all.
Andy Bennis looks like he will be the second pitcher used.
There's a strike, although Matthews has been warming. 1 of the 2. With Griffey, Casey, the first 2 hitters, it may be Matthews.
Yeah, that's right. That's it. And the way they're throwing now, I see Matthews now throwing. They allow Andy the time to get through the lefties.
That's into shallow left center, and Ken Griffey Jr. a diving catch to end the inning. Well, the Cardinals are having some leather thrown at him by the Reds in the inning. Dunn, Reese, and Griffey. We go to the 8th, 2-0 Cincinnati. 2-0 Cincinnati thanks to Ken Griffey Jr. with a bat in the 5th, and he helps out with his glove in the 7th. Today's Pennzoil protection play is the last play thrown out there by Griffey.
Well, obviously that hamstring that hampered him from spring training is healthy and a terrific play.
Protection under the toughest conditions, and in a 2-run game, a good play by Griffey, and he'll lead it off against the new pitcher Mike Matthews after Bud Smith went 7, allowed 2 runs on 8 hits, struck out 6, walked 2, deserved a better fate, but because of Elmer descends, he gets a decision. That'd be bad news because he's only in line for the loss, and there's the season for Mike Matthews.
And Mike has pitched very well his 3rd stint out of the bullpen, and he's allowed just 3 runs in 25 innings in relief for a 1.08 ERA.
The Cardinals will have the top of the order bat in the bottom of this 8th. crucial for Mike Matthews to keep it 2-0. It won't be easy. Griffey, then Casey, then Aaron Boone.
He might just have the first two and then turn it over to Andy Bennis.
A ball to Griffey. One of Matthews' starts this season was against Cincinnati. He has abandoned the windup with his work now out of the bullpen just from the stretch, and the 1-0 to Griffey. 2-0. Back in the 5th inning. Runners at second and third and 2 out. And a hard hit ground ball back up the middle. Descends the pitcher who had singled. Is followed by Todd Walker to make it 2-0, and it's the only scoring of the night. The 2-0 pitch. 3 balls, no strikes.
Just threw a couple breaking balls, then threw that fastball, missed up and in. Mike faced one man yesterday and allowed him to reach base.
4 pitches, a walk to Ken Griffey Jr. So that's the way the 8th inning begins. Our cameras have found tonight's Fox Sports Net super fans. If you're at one of our televised games, make a banner or sign. Include Fox Sports Net in the design. If we pick you, you win a t-shirt and hat. For details, call Fox Sports Net 314-206-7000.
Oh, just ask for Kim.
Here's Sean Casey. Sean has 2 out of 3. That was against Bud Smith, and now Mike Matthews, who issued a leadoff walk. Works to the Cincinnati first baseman. Strike 1. In the major leagues, the Cardinals,
Isn't that amazing?
lead the major leagues in allowing 2 runs or fewer in a game. They're tied with Oakland, better than Seattle.
Does that surprise you?
Yes.
2 runs or less 43 times this year.
It's 2 runs tonight. And it's 0-2 on Casey.
So you were talking about a lot of the work that Mike Matthews has been receiving in games and warming up, and I think part of this taking a toll on him is reflected in the base on balls. At least here he's come back to even it 1-1 against Casey.
Stranded 8 of 11 inherited runners this season. Here's an 0-2. Casey would not chase it. Along with just trying to pitch at this level, Cardinals were under the impression that Matthews may have been tipping his pitches with how he reaches into his glove for a particular pitch, and he's got that running through his mind, trying to stay away from that as he tries to make good pitches to these hitters. 1 on, nobody out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And a squirter to short. That's 1. That's 2. 6-4-3 with nobody better than Vina in the middle of it.
And that's 3rd double play turned by the Cardinal defense, and here's another key spot. Mike Matthews does his job. He gets both left-handers. First he walked Griffey, but now it's erased on Casey's little ground ball to short, and Tony's going to make a pitching change and go to Andy Bennis.
Andy will be happy about that. He gets some work. Good work by Matthews. By the way, I didn't know that green broke 2 different ways. A double breaking green on that ground ball to short with all that spin on it. It went to the right, to the left, eventually into the glove of Renteria. On to Vina, on to first, and on to Andy Bennis with a rare appearance out of the bullpen for the Cardinals. We'll take a break. 2 out, nobody on. Top of the 8th. Cincinnati on top, 2-0. Top of the 8th, 2 out, nobody on, and the Cardinals have gone to their bullpen. Second pitcher of the inning will be Andy Bennis this week on Beyond the Glory. It's a Mother's Day tribute, Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Net. That's it? That's all I have to read? A Mother's Day tribute, Beyond the Glory, Sunday at 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Net.
I'll see Andy's appearances. Of course, the majority of them were starts.
Hey, maybe tonight is win number 150.
Well, you know, it was perfect. The only game we lost on that road trip, I thought it was telling when Tony brought Andy into a game, a key point in the game with Vladimir Guerrero up. He struck him out, and then the Cardinals got 3 runs in the 9th inning, took the lead, and Andy was in line for his 150th career victory, but wasn't to be as the Expos scored a pair.
2 to tie, 1 in the 11th to win it.
Yep. But it seemed like, and I thought it was very telling that when he brought him in there for Vladimir Guerrero.
Well, he brought him in here for Aaron Boone with 2 out, nobody on, and Boone took a strike. Good pitch, bottom part of the strike zone, 1-1.
Aaron didn't like that last one. According to pitch tracks, it was a ball.
And now he's in the hole, 1-2.
And the first one was a strike that was called a ball.
The 33-year-old right-hander, Andy Benes.
This is his 4th relief appearance, and those 22 previous appearances.
That last effort was last Wednesday at Montreal. The 1-2 had him reaching, and Boone did a good job to stay alive. So again, the top of the order will bat in the bottom of the inning. Vina, Polanco, and McGuire. If anybody gets on, Pujols, who tonight has extended his hitting streak to 14 games. Cardinals have had base runners, stranded 6, but cannot dent home plate. Here's a 1-2. Right down the middle, and the inning is over. So Andy Benes does his thing again, as he did last Wednesday in Montreal. He comes in, faces one batter, gets a strikeout. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 2-0 Reds. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Al, this is it. This is the inning. This is the time to get something done.
3 runs or more. Bennett gets his 150th victory.
The crowd goes
The
crazy.
crowd goes crazy.
They throw a parade in downtown St.
And
Louis.
we're home by 10.
Fernando Vina first up, a 303 average so far tonight, 0 for 3. To the right side and through. This is the time, Al. This is the inning.
We told you. And Fernando now has a 6-game hitting streak.
So Vina's on. First time he has swung at the first pitch tonight. And a little chopper through the right side that was pretty to watch. Here comes Polanco with McGuire to follow.
Kind of got the feeling that Casey thought his second baseman, Walker, was going to be there. Brain Trust, Boone, and Gullett looking on as the bullpen gets active for the first time.
Understand that one of the best young Little League pitchers in the Los Angeles area, Jonathan Black, is watching tonight's game. No H in that name, by the way. 1 on, nobody out. Vina's running, and Polanco a base hit into left center. Vina will go to third. Al, this is the time. This is the inning. First and third with nobody out.
Now, all I know is Bob Boone wishes now he had that Jonathan Black to bring into this game.
That's right. But their bullpen is weary, as you said earlier, and right now Elmer DeSenz is in his biggest trouble of the night.
Well, here's what we're going to show you is you see these 2 guys that go up there normally swinging at first pitches and doing a good job, but Mark McGuire's had a tough night, and he has really been the problem himself. DeSenz has just tempted him with pitches off the plate. He's been swinging at all kinds of balls.
How about one of those patented hits for McGuire? Off the end of the bat, out of play.
Let's look at the 2 strikeouts and where the pitches have been. You can see balls all over the place. First time he went after a pitch that was up over the middle of the plate, but a fastball. And then the last time he struck out on pitches that were all away from him and all balls.
All of a sudden, the Cardinals have the go-ahead run at the plate. Tying runs are on. First and third, nobody out. The 0-1. Into right field. Back is done at the track. It'll get one run home. Polanco will tag, go halfway, and hold. And it's a 2-1 game. So McGuire gets the RBI. His 44th of the year, and the Cardinals are down by 1.
This is the inning, Joe.
Now it's Pujols with Edmonds to follow.
And once again, I think even though it doesn't leave the ballpark, Mack knew it was deep enough for the sacrifice fly. The fans are a little bit short, but they do get one run back, 2-1 ball game. And now the stage is set for our leading hitter, home run hitter, and RBI man standing at the plate.
Guys hit .330, 28 home runs, 84 RBIs. Albert Pujols, 1 on, 1 out. Strike 1. And Albert would love to have that one back.
Well, you know, by pitch tracks, it was outside, up and away. And Albert is the type of guy, is not stubborn. He doesn't have to pull everything. He will go with the pitch.
Cardinals have done some running tonight. Here's an 0-1. Credit Tony La Russa wasn't sitting around after the leadoff hit by Vigna. He started the runner on a hit and run, and did that pay off on the sac fly to right by McGuire?
Definitely did, and just like our chances right now, I do not believe that we can afford to let DeScends face Edmonds, though. So this could be the last batter for Elmer.
Let's send him out of here in style. 1 on, 1 out. 2 balls and a strike. DeScends kind of a dart thrower, and he missed with that one. 2-1. Now he's behind on the count. He knows his pitches are numbered now for the rest of the night, with Edmonds on deck. Edmonds, a left-handed batter with a pair of doubles, so he is likely facing his last batter of the night. Pujols has hit 28 out of the park in this his rookie season. And DeScends is being too careful. He's 3-1, and now he's in a spot where he either has to A, challenge a guy who has hit 28 home runs, who represents the go-ahead run, or B, stay careful with him and put the tying run in scoring position, the go-ahead run on if he should walk Pujols.
And Joe, if the team is a team of destiny, is going to be truly a major factor the rest of the way, you have to win this game.
Here is a 3-1 to Pujols. He walked him, and Albert, with a ton of patience, goes down to first. It's 2 on, 1 out. Edmonds coming up, but it will not be Elmer DeScends on the mound for Cincinnati.
Going to go to the left-hander, Mercado.
So it's Mercado entering for the Reds. And the Cardinals have the tying run at second, the go-ahead run at first. Good work by the rookie Albert Pujols. He did not chase a pitch out of the strike zone. He was willing to take the walk, and DeScends walks away. His game, the Reds' game, is now in the hands of the guys in the bullpen. 2 on, 1 out, 2-1 Cincinnati, 8th inning, and it will be Mercado against Edmonds when we come back. It's getting good in the 8th. 2-1 Reds all season long. Fox Sports Net is your place to turn for the latest news, highlights, and information on the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Tomorrow it's Totally NASCAR, your exclusive all-access garage pass with 30 minutes of NASCAR news and highlights, plus the latest developments on what's gearing up for this week's race. Totally NASCAR tomorrow at 6 p.m. only on Fox Sports Net. When trailing after 8 innings, the Cardinals in the last 3 seasons have won once.
Isn't that incredible?
Incredible. So the key is to get the lead here in the 8th inning. 2-1 Cincinnati, 2 on, 1 out. Jim Edmonds, 2 out of 3, takes ball 1. Edmonds has doubled twice. However, that was against the right-hander to Sims. Jim Edmonds this season, as he stands in, hitting .277, and against left-handed pitching, .235 with 3 of his 16 home runs. 2-0.
So let's look at pitch tracks where his hits have been. Look at the one on the left. That was the double the first time up. The one he fell away and just tommyhawked into the corner. One hopped the wall. Then the next time, more conventional, middle half in, he hit a double into the corner. So let's see, and right now he's hitting 2-0. We have seen Mercado before, and in the last 3 games, his ERA is nearly 10.
2 on, 1 out, 2 balls, no strikes. Edmonds, ball 3. And Mercado is 1 pitch out of the strike zone for putting the tying run at third, the go-ahead run at second, and there's only 1 out in the inning.
So Jim's approach is a little better than Paquette's was in the 6th inning with a 3-0 count.
He's got the body language of being up there to take, and he does. 3-1. And Mercado with 93-mile-an-hour pitch certainly didn't let up to throw that strike.
And that's a real key for young pitchers. You fall behind, don't aim the ball, just go ahead and follow through. Make your pitch and throw the ball with full intensity.
Here's a 3-1. Edmonds has a full count. So it was 3-0. Now it's 3-2. And Edmonds try to put it in play. .100 strikeouts on the season for Edmonds. 2 on, 1 out. That will load him up. Back-to-back walks. Mercado does not do his job. Edmonds did well to lay off. Now it will be Paquette, and it will not be Mercado. It'll be Sullivan. Scott Sullivan will come on to pitch. Paquette has been frustrated in this game. Craig on the night 0 for 3. He's had runners in scoring position in each of his last 2 at-bats. He'll have the bases loaded with 1 out in the 8th when we come back.
Cincinnati's hanging on to a precarious 2-1 lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. And immediately following the game, we will bring you the Midwest Sports Report. John Hadley sounds off. Fox Focus is on Gold Gloves. And defense without Grant Wistrom. Hurt his knee in yesterday's game immediately following this contest. But, Joe, it's open for grabs right now.
Oh.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Scott Sullivan coming in to face Paquette. And we know how good Paquette is with, well, the bases loaded. He has 2 grand slams, but with runners in scoring position, he is a monster.
Bases loaded, 1 away. Cardinals down by a run. Paquette, wow. Fouled straight back, strike 1. Craig is a first ball swinger, and he tried to unload.
Look at this ball. It's sort of sitting right there and right back. Tying run 90 feet away. The go-ahead run out at second. Extra insurance run at first.
Oh, just high.
Wow.
That was an Alderson strike, but not a Terry Kraft strike, and the count 1-1.
You're right about that, Joe.
So Paquette with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Double play gets the Reds out of trouble. Paquette has been way too anxious in these at-bats tonight.
Yeah, and Scott Sullivan can be very nasty on right-handed batters. Drops down. Side armor, submariner.
It's one thing to get the hit. It's another just to try to get that man in from third. 2 out. Pizza Hut perfect delivery from Scott Sullivan, to say the least. Comes in, bases loaded, 1 out, and he just carved up Craig Paquette.
Well, Joe, that's the one thing. You've got to keep that front shoulder on tight, and not good discipline by Craig tonight. We've got a guy that we've been talking about his resurrection by taking the ball up the middle, opposite field. That's what you need.
Ball 1.
Got to have the discipline to trust your instincts, but you really got to think about driving the ball up the middle, opposite field. Don't let that front shoulder fly open.
2-0. Cardinals need a hit. 2 outs, runners in scoring position. 18 of the 37 RBIs this season for Renteria. Cardinals need a hit. Two and 1. Two balls and a strike as Renteria took one right down the middle on 2-0. Bases loaded, 2 out. Cardinals with a chance in the 8th. They've scored once. They trail by 1. Left side base hit. 1 run scores to tie. Here comes Pujols. The throw by Young, not in time, and the Cardinals take the lead. 3-2 on a hit by Renteria.
Has he been something? He comes through most of the time with 2-out situations and just finds a way to put the ball in play. This time he finds a hole on the left side, but he had a hit in his count, and he had a ball in the inner half, and he delivers. And Pujols is a good base runner, and he gets that good jump out of second base, and he needed every bit of it. Dimitri, not the best throwing arm, but it still is going to be a close play at the plate, and the Cardinals come through thanks to Renteria.
Now see if the Cardinals can get more. Eli Marrero at the plate, 2 on, 2 out, ball 1. If the Cardinals win tonight, as we look at Edgar Renteria's reaction, good for him. Talk about some frustrated times the first half of the season. He has worked to change things, and good for him. We talked about that ugly stat of wins, only 1 in the last 3 years when trailing after 8. Very good when leading after 8. Now it's 2-0 on Marrero with Kerry Robinson on deck, and the Cardinals get that man up again, Dave Veers.
And maybe now Andy gets that 150th victory.
Well, it was Veers on the mound that couldn't hold it last Wednesday in Montreal, but Veers was tremendous over the weekend against the Mets.
There's a huge difference in mentally where Dave Veers' mindset is right now.
That's a strike, 2-1. If the Cardinals win here tonight, it appears they will be 4.5 out in the division behind Houston and 4 out in the wild card. The 2-1. 2-2.
So let's go to the pitch tracks and our blimp track. See where that ball was on the outside, but it was an off-speed pitch, so he was able to get out there and pull it into the hole. You know, it's just the luck of getting a ground ball that went through. You have to be lucky when you win.
Eli Marrero trying to add to the Cardinal lead. Astros pounding on the Cubs, and Marrero pops it into left. Dimitri Young is there. The Cardinals get 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th. What a night. Potentially, what a start to a 7-game homestand. Edgar Renteria, the hero for now. That hit with 2 outs puts the Cardinals up 3. Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Net was brought to you by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light. Well, after After a frustrating homestand the last time the Cardinals were here in a split of a 4-game set against Florida, the Cardinals went on a road trip through Montreal and New York. The only game they lost on the road trip was a game that got away in the 9th inning, a 2-run lead. Dave Veers was on the mound during that 9th inning, but Dave Veers was as big a reason why the Cardinals got those wins at Shea Stadium as anybody the Cardinals have on their roster, and you see his numbers as he looks for his 14th save.
Well, Joe, you're talking about the confidence level is completely different than he was after pitching so well. 4 shutout innings in New York, getting a win, 2 saves, only allowing 1 hit. He's feeling pretty good. And of his 13 saves, 4 of them have come at the expense of the Cincinnati Reds. So here's an opportunity to get another one and build to the confidence level of Dave Veers.
Dimitri Young, Jason LaRue, and Pokey Reese are the scheduled hitters. Dimitri Young is a home run threat. He's hit 14. He's 1 out of 3 tonight. First pitch of the 9th inning. Strike 1 on the outside corner, and that hit 90 miles an hour on the stadium gun, 89 on ours. So Veers with some zip after a long weekend at Shea. Numbers for Young at .302 average. Leading off. Strike 2.
Well, Joe, I'll tell you, physically he may be a little tired, but the type of pitcher that Dave Veers is, that probably works to advantage as you keep and maintain the release point and the feel for his split finger pitch. And also the fact that you go last 6 weeks, the adrenaline pumping, a save opportunity, you're ready for it.
Forkball, you have to guess, that's in the dirt, 1 and 2. Veers has also worked the slider into his repertoire more. You can get picked off thinking forkball all the time, whether you're broadcasting a game or trying to hit against him. The slider has been more of a weapon, and we'll see how they go after Dimitri Young.
And the slider, you'll throw more to the right-handed batters.
Another forkball in the dirt. It's 2 and 2. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a third forkball.
I would almost bet upon it. That's the thing for Dimitri. You've got to say, okay, if it starts out, if I recognize very little spin, and if it's a forkball and it starts out thigh high, shook off the slider, shook off the fastball, come back to the forkball. 3 of them right square in the dirt.
Crowd groaning as the count was 0 and 2. Now it's 3 and 2.
Normally when you're a little bit tired, you don't overthrow that pitch. And when you overthrow it, you throw it into the dirt.
Now what? Is it 4 forkballs in a row? Is it a fastball? What is it? I think Veers wants to throw the forkball.
He definitely wants to throw the forkball. Eli is going to settle on the fastball.
And it's still 3 and 2. Now they're going to talk.
Yeah, that's a good idea, because Eli is thinking he's a little bit inexperienced in this. That W, that L goes behind the name of Dave Veers, so he should throw what he wants. And as the more veteran, he should take the lead.
There's a big out right here.
This is a big pitch right here.
3 balls, 2 strikes. It was 0 and 2.
Fastball.
That's not good. No 2 count. And a leadoff walk, and the 4 that missed weren't even close. Now the tying run is on. The Reds will have the option of bunting with LaRue as Steckschulte gets loose in the Cardinal bullpen. Cardinals have turned 3 double plays tonight. We'll see what they do with LaRue. Pokey Reese is the next scheduled hitter, and then it's down to the pitcher's spot.
See, when he's ahead in the count, normally he can put away batters with that forkball.
Swinging with LaRue, and I guess why not? Here's a team that's 48-68, strike one. Is that the slider?
I thought it was the slider, but it was basically the same speed.
At any rate, it's strike one. Tying run at first with nobody out. Cardinal infielders don't know what to expect from LaRue. They'd love to expect and get a double play ball.
The slider, those are the sliders.
And it's 0-2. So a tense ninth inning for the Cardinals after a leadoff walk. 1-run lead. Beers trying to do it again.
Full ball.
A strikeout, one away. So LaRue not only makes the out, he does not advance the runner. 1 on, 1 out with Pokey Reese coming to the plate for Cincinnati.
Join Dan Potash and me after the game for the Midwest Sports Report. We'll have the latest on Grant Wistrom's injury situation with the Rams, highlights from the Cubs and Astros at Enron Field, and you'll also see what it takes to win a Gold Glove. That's coming up after the game, but first, let's rejoin Joe and Al.
All right, Rob, thanks. 1 on, 1 out. Pokey Reese at the plate. Ball one. It's Reese up now with a pinch hitter on deck.
Brady Clark is the pinch hitter.
Steck Schulte getting loose in the bullpen as Reese waits for a 1-0 pitch. Base hit into center, and it's 2 on with 1 out. A walk, a single, a big strikeout in the middle. LaRue did not advance the runner, so Reese's hit just sets it up, and now 2 on, 1 out for Brady Clark.
Today's batting pitcher Scott Sullivan, number 22, Brady
Boy, LaRussa. You wonder if he is thinking right here bringing Steck Schulte in the game.
I sent Dave Duncan out to talk to him real quickly. We said it'd be easy, but somebody like a Steck Schulte or someone's going to have to step up until we can kind of right the ship. But I think Dave Beers is very capable, but you know, he needs one of those strike out somebody, needs a good play behind him defensively.
It's 2 on with 1 out right now. To this point, the play of the game brought to you by Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down. Make it a Bud Light without a doubt to this point. Bases loaded, 2 out, and Renteria grounds one through the left side. Scored Polanco. Pujols put the Cardinals up 3-2, a lead they enjoy here in the 9th inning, although they're not enjoying it as much with 2 on and 1 out. Brady Clark at the plate. Fly ball into center should be the 2nd out. Edmonds gets ready to throw. He holds the runners at 1st and 2nd, and the Reds are down to their final out. Brady Clark went after the first pitch, and he's the 2nd out in the ninth.
Brady Clark has 11 pinch hits this year. He was batting .429 in that role. So he saw a pitch that he thought he liked, hit it pretty well, but 2nd out of the game.
Well, here's Todd Walker. This guy's been a handful this season for Cardinal pitching.
Now, Joe, a lot of times you send up that pinch hitter and he swings to that first pitch and you get that out. That's enough to propel you through the 3rd out of the inning.
2 on, 2 out. Todd Walker at the plate. Strike one.
That helps to get Terry Kraft's strike zone has been interesting tonight.
Been more side to side than up and down.
Yes, it has.
Career for Walker against Beers. 2 on, 2 out. 1-0 pitch, 0-1 rather, and now the count's even 1-1. Scoreboard has 2-0, but it's 1-1. With 2 on, 2 out, and that big rookie stud Adam Dunn waiting on deck. Todd Walker could tie it with a hit. Strike 2, and the Reds are down to their final strike. This would be one of the more important and one of the more exciting wins of the season.
Give Tony La Russa a lot of credit for not even being tempted to get Dave Beard or get Steve Klein out.
Even with those big lefties coming up.
That's right. I mean, but he's just sit there and he goes, I need to give my lefty a rest, so I'll have him for the next 3 days.
Runners on at first and second. 2 out. 3-2 Cardinals, 9th inning. A ball and 2 strikes on Walker. 2-2. Over 90 miles an hour on that delivery from Beers, so he is throwing hard.
Yeah, he's pumped up on this one, tried to go inside, and he was a little too far in. But still, that sets up in the mindset of the batter to look out for that pitch away. Fourth ball away.
Here comes a 2-2 with 2 on, 2 out. Beers. Up the middle, Vina. What a player. What a player, Fernando Vina. If he doesn't win a Gold Glove, it's a crime. And Vina gets the last out. Beers gets his 14th save. Andy Benes gets his 150th career win.
Well, this is a big one for the Cardinals, Joe. This is a big one. Everybody's happy about this. You know, Renteria picked up his teammates, particularly Paquette, and that was a heck of a play by Vina.
6 out of 7 the Cardinals have won, and it appears they'll be 4.5 out in the division, 4 in the wild card. Let's send it to Rob and Dan.